Shabbat Shalom. It is so wonderful to be together on this. Hard to believe this is spring because we're still a little chilly. So we'll make believe it's spring. It's third winter. We'll call it something. But we are together tonight to welcome this holy and sacred time of Shabbat. It is Shabbat Acharei Mot, and tomorrow we have two twin wonderful gentlemen who will become B'nai Mitzvah. And so it is our pleasure to celebrate with their family, as well as a few new drivers who need to be blessed. So very exciting night. We have a lot going on. And of course, our fabulous Life Tree Ramblers. So let us welcome Shabbat, a time of joy, of rest, and of peace as we begin our service with the singing of Hine Matov.
Hine Matov u'manayim sheverachim gam yachad. 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 Sheverachim gam yachad. Sheverachim gam yachad.
It is my pleasure to invite to the Bima at this time to sanctify our Shabbat candles, Benji Feldheim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We continue in our Sidurim, in our prayer book, with the singing of Boi Kala, which can be found on page 20.
Lecha dodi likrat kala v'leisha Shabbat Mikabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Mikabela Shamor v'zavor v'dibor echad Yishmi'anu el hamiuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad V'shemo tiferet v'litila Lecha dodi Lecha
Rise as we face the entrance.
גם בשמחה ובשולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי.
We remain standing. We remain standing as we turn to page 28 for the Baruch Hu.
Am I awake? Am I prepared?
Are you listening to my prayer?
Can you hear my voice?
Can you understand?
Am I awake?
Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la la
Please be seated. It's my pleasure on the Shabbat before his bar mitzvah to invite up Josh Caro to lead us in Ma'ariv Aravim on page 30.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma potea sharim, uvit vuna mishanei itim, umahalif et hazmanim, umsader et hakokavim, umishmerotehem barakia kirtsono, borei yom v'layla, Oel or mipnei hosha, hosha mipnei or, umahavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uben laila, anai sevaot shamo, el hai vikaya, tamid yimloch alenu le'olam va'ed, baruch ata anai, mariv aravim. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down, when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
We continue now with the Shema on page 34. Please rise.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. It's my pleasure on the evening prior to his bar mitzvah to invite up Alex Cairo to lead us in the Ve'ahavta on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתם מארץ מצרים, לחיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood on Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands marching together.
In a moment, we'll continue with Mi Chamocha, which is on page 40. And I just want to make note of the fact that We just celebrated Passover, the holiday wherein this is exactly what we are celebrating, is the escape from Egypt and that moment of freedom atop, past the sea. And I also want to recognize that tonight is driver's license Shabbat. And for those of you who remember when you got your driver's license, that feeling of freedom that you first had when you got your license, I would imagine that the Israelites probably felt similarly as they were celebrating as they crossed the sea, or after they crossed the sea. So we are going to continue now with Mi Chamocha on page 40. Of prayer, we take a moment to remind ourselves that it's Shabbat. In the Torah, it tells us not only to remember Shabbat or to keep Shabbat, but to guard Shabbat. Shabbat is something that needs to be guarded because it's so easy to be forgotten about or to be chipped away at, right? We all know that we are so busy and we have so much going on, and it's so easy just to say, I'll get to that later. It's okay if I just do an hour of work, or it's okay if I just do this one little thing, and soon enough we know that in fact we've ended up working the entire Shabbat without having taken any time for us as individuals to celebrate Shabbat. And so I think it's so important when we have those moments to say, well, it's okay, I can just do this one thing, to think about how many of those one things have we already done, and maybe to stop and pause and say, it's okay. That next thing can come later, because right now I'm going to take a moment for myself, for Shabbat. So we continue with Vishamru and Eternity Under a Day on page 44.
Shabbat.
Please be seated. We continue in our Sidurim in our prayer book on page 55. Let's read responsively. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle
find rest on this day.
May all who suffer find solace.
May all who hurt find healing on this day.
May all who despair find purpose.
Fulfillment on this day.
And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh haShabbat. We continue on page 60 with the singing of Shalom Rav, followed by silent meditation.
Shalom Shalom Bimroma, Huyaseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom Bimroma, Huyaseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom Bimroma,
We continue now with our Torah service, which begins on page 249. Please rise. Please be seated. Tonight, we are in the Torah portion of Acharei. If you come back tomorrow, you will hear Josh and Alex read and teach us more about Acharei as well. In this section of Torah, the duties of the head Kohen, the head priest, the duties that they must perform on Yom Kippur are delineated, and the ceremony of the scapegoat is outlined. Moses instructs Aaron about the Yom Kippur laws for fasting and atonement. Warnings are issued against the offering of sacrifices outside the sanctuary and the consumption of blood. And Moses condemns the sexual practices of some neighboring peoples. You can follow along in our Torah reading tonight in our Etz Chaim commentary. That's the burgundy maroonish book underneath your seats on page 688. Ta'amod Esther bat Aharon dov ve'eta le'aliyah.
Baruch es Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Amen. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Daber el bnei Yisrael v'amarta alehem. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Kemasa Eretz Mitzrayim. Asher yishbatem ba lo tasu. V'chamasa Eretz Canaan. Asher ani. Mevi etchem shema lo ta'asu uvchukotehem lo telechu et mishpatai ta'asu vet chukotai tishmeru lalechet bahem ani Adonai Elohechem v'shmartem et chukotai ve'et mishpatai Asher ya'aseh otam ha'adam v'chai v'hem ani Adonai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Lovely time.
You're good. And while we have the Torah out tonight, we take a moment in our service to think about those who are in need of healing, those who are in need of healing of mind or body or spirit. And this week we think of Kristen Nystro, Jim Hines, Richard Vane, Arthur Lang, Heather Borzak, Dick McLean, Quincy Newman, Brooke Ann Godesman, Bridget Stern, Jim Barry, Kurt Johnson, Phil Sturt, the Mix family, Len Schutzman, Charlotte Wolfenstein, Joy Rosenthal, Sherry Katz, Gary Tatiner, Cheryl Hildebrand, Cheryl Ball, John Eulenberg, Rhonda Rhodes, David Menikoff, Rusty Taylor, Rabbi Bruce Goldwasser, Rabbi Fred Wenger, Jean Maynard, Jacqueline Sullivan, Julie Melvin, Judy Freed, Carol Nymark, Catherine Smith, Randy Pines Martin, Alan Frankfeder, and all who suffer whom we know not by name. Mishaberach avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov, ve'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah, hu yivarech v'yirapet kol cholei Yisrael, v'yishlach lahem bimhera refuah shlema, refuat hanefesh u'refuat haguf, v'nomar. Amen. We continue now with the singing of Mishaberach on page 253.
Mikor habracha,
Ya'amod Yirmiyahu ben Yitzchak v'Cyril Hagba, Ta'amod Perobat Moshe Chaim v'Yehudit Galila. We rise for the lifting and dressing of the Torah on page 252. Please be seated. It's my pleasure now to invite up Rachel Diamond to lead us in our prayer for America on page 258, and Brandon Cairo to lead us in our prayer for Israel on page 259.
O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. Amen.
O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them into good counsel. Establish peace in the land of holiness, of joy for all who dwell there. Amen.
Amen.
Our service continues now as we return the Torah to the Ark, the words of which can be found on page 256. Please rise.
Please be seated. At this time in our service, I'm going to ask all of my new drivers to please come to Bema at this time and to stand in front awkwardly. All my new drivers. And I'm going to ask my tallis holders to come and stand off the bema to the side for when I need you. Oh, no, you're going to stand in the back. Okay. Yes. All right. New drivers. Isn't it great? It's like Old Home Week. Isn't it great? In our Torah portion this week, Acharei Mot, we're reminded of the two sons of Aaron who perished after offering strange fire. That's what Acharei Mot means. It means after the death of Aaron's two sons. And the modern rabbis, their demise to the dangers of driving drunk. That is, doing something reckless without thinking through the consequences. So we hope that you new drivers will stay within the confines of recklessness. That is, you won't drive with too many other kids in the car. You won't take unnecessary risks. You won't get distracted by cute guys and girls. And you'll put away your cell phone. We hope that you will always wear your seatbelt, drive the speed limit, respect the rules of the road, and drive with courtesy and caution. And so, I'm going to hand our new drivers a very special item. It's called a car mezuzah. Mr. Cameraman, if you will, zoom in as close as you can so I can show you these tiny car mezuzot. Now, one for you, Will. Here we go. For you. I'm so happy there you go, that you're going to have these car mezuzahs for your car. Brenton asked me, Rabbi, is this really a real thing? No, it's not. Mezuzahs are for homes, but it makes us feel better that your cars have a mezuzah. Just saying. So, I'm going to ask my fabulous tallis holders. I'm going to have the ladies come in front and the gentlemen behind. There we go. Yeah, thank you. Because we have to put a tallis over your kepis. Okay, so we're all going to take a, all right, you're going to be in the back? Good. You're going to be in the back. Perfect. Okay. You're going to go behind Will. Yep. So you guys move forward. There we go. Yeah. There. Guys, move forward. Drivers, move forward. Drivers, proceed with caution. Thank you. May it be your will, Lord our God and God of our ancestors, that you lead us toward peace, place our footsteps toward peace, guide us toward peace, and make all of our children reach their desired destination for life, for gladness and peace, and return us to our home, peace. May you, God, send blessing in our handiwork and grant us grace, kindness, and mercy in your eyes and in the eyes of all who see us. Blessed are you, O God, who hears prayer, and let us say together, Amen. I ask everyone to please rise. Yeverechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Adonai panav Elecha vaykuneka Isa Adonai panav elecha Vayasem lecha shalom Vayasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God be kind and gracious unto you. May God's countenance be lifted up unto you and grant you all and all of us the most precious gift of peace. And let us say together, Amen. Okay, drivers, you may go sit back down. You may all be seated. Tallis holders, you may lower. And band, you may continue with a blessing for our drivers.
With health and
Shabbat Shalom. My name is Paul Hines. I'll be making announcements today, and I've got about a New York Times worth, so get comfy. Thank you to the Life Tree Ramblers for leading our music tonight, and for Roberto Michelasi for doing the sound. Thank you to our usher, Andrea Alterman-Lax, and our greeter, Elise Sarabasi. Welcome to the guests of the Cairo family, and Mazel Tov on Alex and Josh on their B'nai Mitzvah. And Mazel Tov to our new drivers. Enjoy the car mezuzot, and for goodness sakes, drive safely. Our second night Seder last Saturday was a huge success with over 70 people. We hope that you all had a meaningful Passover this past week. The Oneg tonight will have a small table for those of you who are still keeping kosher for Passover. Torah study is back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Via Zoom, and then you can join the Cairo family as Alex and Josh are called to the Torah as B'nai Mitzvah in the sanctuary or via YouTube. This Sunday, we have a lot going on. Pay attention here. We've got the temple tailgate. It will be a post-Passover pancake palooza sponsored by the 10th grade confirmation class. The cost is $10 for adults and teens, $5 for kids 12 and under. Proceeds benefit Make-A-Wish and Year Up Chicago. There is no registration, so come on over. In the lobby, there will be a sisterhood talit sale for all upcoming B'nai Mitzvah. At 10:45 in the sanctuary or online, everyone is invited to gather for a Yom HaShoah service led by our 8th grade class. At 3 p.m. in the library, our own Dubravka Jaraga will have a book discussion on the late great Rabbi Jonathan Sacks. Next Friday, April 29th at 12:30 p.m., Lifelong Learning Committee is sponsoring an event to recognize Yom HaShoah. Our executive director, Aaron Robin, will be speaking with longtime colleague Nami Ichalov. Nami is a president and CEO of Jewish Federation of San Antonio and director of their Holocaust Museum. We've got a couple save the dates as well. May 7th, Saturday at 4 p.m., families, including grandparents and grandkids, are welcome to join us for our next PJ Havdalah, which is geared towards children 8 and under. And I don't have a date here. When's the Brotherhood picnic? May 15th. Our school year will wrap up with a Brotherhood-sponsored barbecue. Volunteers are needed, so please contact Steve Samuels if you are able to do a shift. Next Friday night, our Shabbat services will be given at 7:30 here in the sanctuary or via live stream. For all the details of each of these events, check out our weekly happenings email. Please join us after service for an Oneg in the social hall sponsored by the Cairo family. Shabbat Shalom.
We are going to transition now to our concluding prayers, and it's my pleasure to invite up anybody who has not yet become B'nai Mitzvah. We have a few of you here to help us open the Ark. We are on page 283. Please rise. Please be seated. We think now of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who have died in this season and in years past. And on this Shabbat, we remember Hugo Farkas, father of Alan Farkas, Beverly Whitkov, mother of Harold Whitkov, Lynn Bressler, friend of Marcy and Ken Siegel, Ida Haber, mother-in-law of Joyce Haber, Hyman Krause, father of Daniel Krause, Francis McGrath, father of Margaret McGrath, Max Perlman, father of Jay Perlman, Molly Rosen, grandmother of Judith Stein, David Allen Samuels, brother of Stephen Samuels and uncle of Michael Samuels, Sidney Blumen, brother of Lila Warshawski, Richard Elrod, cousin of Terry Shapiro, Shirley Gendel, aunt of Gary Poliea, Abe Albert Gistenson, grandfather of Michael Field, Esther Gluck, sister of Gerald Wolin, Joseph Petrick, father of Patricia Gibbs, Thomas Somlow, father of Carolyn Berlin, Ben Frankel, brother of Dina Fruin, Ann Headington, mother-in-law of Maureen Headington, Jack Herbach, grandfather of Alan Herbach, Susie Crinsley, sister of Ann Stein, Harry Hallberg, father of Lena Benson, Irving Mannheimer, grandfather of Brian Blumenstein, Robert Sullivan, father of Robert Sullivan, Sally Levine Appel, mother of Jeffrey Appel, Dale Freilich, father of Naomi Fine, Anita Gardner, grandmother of Molly and Joe Gardner, Shirley Gorin, grandmother of Beth Spenadel, Jacqueline Holt, mother of Sharon Holt, Mr. Sanford J. Olshan, father of Blythe Olshan Findley, Mike Shapiro, father of Sherry Balin, Maurice Blonder, father of Ellen Simpson, Miriam Dubinsky, aunt of Reese Kaiser, Sam Feinstein, father of Alan Feinstein, Charles Riskin, father of Terry Klaus, Suzanne Joan Zimmerman, mother of Gary Zimmerman. And we mourn the recent passing of Jane Stevens, aunt of Sherry Kaiser, and Larry Nymark, husband of Carol Nymark. We join together as one community now on page 294 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Please rise. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, Be'chaye chon uvyome chon uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala v'zman kariv imru amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'almei almaya, Yit barach v'yit tabach v'yit pa'ar v'yit romam v'yit naseh, V'yit hadar, v'yit alev, v'yit halal, shmei d'kudasha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Please be seated. We conclude now with a Ramblers medley.
So this song says, even if our mouths were overflowing with song as the sea, we could not thank Adonai adequately enough. This is from the morning liturgy, and I thought it was appropriate as we are ending the Passover holiday that we sing another song of the sea. This is Ilufinu.
And it's my pleasure to invite up the Cairo family to help lead us in Kiddush and Motzi. It's on page 5. Josh, you can hold this. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, Zikaron lema'aseh Bereshit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher letziat mitzrayim, ki banu acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, V'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-shabbat. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, B'tei avon, everyone, may this Shabbat, and especially tomorrow, where it's supposed to be so nice outside, may you each find a moment to say, this is Shabbat, and I'm going to do nothing but rest. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Please join us in the social hall for our Oneg Shabbat.